Hello everyone, this is Caly. Thanks so much for joining me for a Pretty Pink Posh STAMPtember 2021 exclusive. We are creating a box card today to kick this set up one extra notch. It's an adorable set with a skiing theme, and so I thought it would be fun to create a box card with slopes and stuff so that these different critters in different sizes can have some perspective to them. So I'm starting off here by stamping and coloring the images. I'm quickly going to share the coloring on the video here sped up so that you can see how the box card is put together and how we can share some inspiration using this set. I use lots of Copic markers for this particular project since there's lots of elements to these critters and images. So be sure to check out my blog if you want to see a list of all of the colors used. I'm going to be blending with 3 colors on most of these images, a dark, medium, and light. Adding the dark first into the nooks and crannies, adding a medium shade to draw that dark color out just a little bit, and then blending it all out with a lightest shade. So I'm going to do this with all of my images, just working through it slowly. And then once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut out all of these images. This set does come with dies, but I don't have them. So I'll go ahead and fussy cut all of them and then add some gel highlights to all of my images to give them a bit of interest. Once I get through all of them, I'm just going to push them aside to begin working on our box. The box card die consists of 2 cards. The longer one here that you see is tabbed and consists of the bottom portion of the card, and it has score lines and everything on it to help you create your box, and then these inserts. You'll want to cut 2 or 3 or however many inserts you want, and these box card borders coordinate with that box card die, and you can cut the scenic elements that you want for your particular design. So since I'm creating a winter card, I'm going to use these 2 dies that will create my bunny slopes for my critters. So I'm going to go ahead and trim down my box card panel here, this longer piece. I want it to have a low profile so I can add more images and more elements to my card. The height of this panel is originally 2 inches. I'm cutting it down to 1¼ inches and then just angling the tabs at the very end so that they don't show up at all once adhered to make my box. Once I fold down all the creases of these score lines, I'm going to go ahead and die cut the 2 inserts that are going to go inside my box. So I have these slopes and I'm looking at my images. This one is sloping downward and the penguin can go either way. So I'm just going to make sure that the angle at which I cut my dies is going to work for my scene. Once I die cut my slopes, I can go ahead and burnish those score lines as well. Now I've cut a second panel that I'm going to ink blend so that I can adhere it to the base of the card. I'm using cracked pistachio for the bottom of the card, and then I'm going to use Mermaid Lagoon for the top of the card. And once I'm done with this panel, I'm going to go ahead and bring back in those slope panels that I just cut. I'm going to use the residual ink on my brush to add a bit of color and shading to the top of these bunny slopes. The ink blending is done, so now we're all set and ready to go to adhere our box and assemble it together. So I'm adding red line tape. This is new from the STAMPtember first release, and so it'll be around forever and will be restocked, but I love this red line tape because it's so strong. Okay, so we've got the 1/8 inch tape here, and I'm just adding them to all of the tabs on all of these pieces. So I've added my bottom box panel first, and I'm only going to adhere the one side, and I'll remove that same side on the inserts and adhere them to my card, and I'm going to space them evenly on that very first side of the box, if that makes sense. And the second insert, I wanted it to sit a little bit higher so that there's more depth and dimension to my card. So I'm just trimming the tabs so that they don't show on the sides, and then I'll be able to lift this piece a little bit higher. So you can see once I flip them over, this will help me see where things are going to be adhered. I'm going to flatten it and then fold over the front panel. This is going to ensure that everything is adhered in place and flat once it's folded down. So I'll remove that final red line tape and then adhere that side to the back. So I'm going to flip it over so that I can see where it's sitting, and then I'm going to fold the back onto that tab. Again, this just ensures that your box, once collapsed, everything is adhered where it should be without any bulk. Okay, so that ink blended panel, we're just gonna trim that down. I'm just doing an 1/8 inch on each side to clean it up and to make it so that it inserts inside and adheres to the back without any hindrance. I'm adding some dot tape runner to the back of this, and it will serve two purposes. One, to give our card some color, but also to make the back of our box card a little bit more sturdy. Now, before I adhere all of the images and create my scene, I'm just going to stamp my sentiment on that box. You can add it to the front of the box or in the back. For my particular layout, I felt it best to sit in the back there where I know I'm going to have some space because I want that large bear sitting on the back. Now, you'll notice on these two, I am adding the images while the boxes are collapsed. It creates an invisible margin for me so that I know not to go past it. That way, when my box is collapsed, it will fit perfectly inside an A2 sized envelope. All right, so the rest of my images, fairly straightforward. I'm just gonna fill and create my scene and make it jam-packed full of fun. And that finishes my card. And you'll see here, I've put it inside an A2 sized envelope. You can pull it up and pop it back open to display this card, and it makes for a fun 3D design. This stamp set is a STAMPtember exclusive and will not come back once it's sold out. So be sure to grab yours now. And if it happens to sell out, you can still create lots of fun 3D boxes using other stamp sets. I hope I've inspired you. Thanks so much for stopping by and have a great day, everyone. Bye.